Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jan. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Shona. I'm great. How
Great.
are you?
Lovely. Nice to see you. So, hello from Paris. We're here in Paris and delighted to be sitting in for a good conversation with Jan, one of our key clients that we're happy to have as a case study here with us today. So, we're going to do a little bit of an introduction. We've got a great lineup of what we're doing for his company on Amazon to boost the sales internationally. So, Jan, again, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be our client case study and to introduce us to your company. Tell us all about HVEB SAS and what you're planning to do on Amazon. So a welcome to everybody on the call today. Live webinar. We're streamlining it. It'll be available on YouTube afterwards. So for those that miss it, they can watch this later and go through the steps and see what we're doing with our clients here at HVEB SAS. Okay, so let's just open up the chat. People, you can feel free to introduce yourself, get the chat going, and just say hello. Tell us who you are, what you're doing, and of course, share any of the questions or things that you might like to ask Jan and myself. You're very welcome to do this during our conversation. So moving forward on the slides, little bit of an introduction. So my name is Shauna. I'm heading up the business development here for HVEB SAS in France. We are a specialist company for e-sellers, dealing with sellers all around the world, in Europe, in Asia, in America. And today we have one of our favorite clients, HVEB, that's presenting with us to show you what we're doing for our clients in the e-commerce network, what we're doing to make them fully compliant in the different markets that they're selling into. So Jan, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you for having us, Shona. It's really a pleasure to be here with you and everyone who's listening to this webinar. And we're also happy to share our experience launching the e-commerce business and getting the right partners to help us grow throughout the last couple of months. Just a quick introduction. So I'm Jan, head of
Let's.
business development at
Mhm.
HVEB, where the mission is basically to get the business up and running.
Great. So let's move to the next slide just so we can introduce the companies. So first of all, at the HVEB, as I said, international network. We're based in most of the large cities in Europe, big in the United States, and also we've got 3 large offices in China. So we have clients. We're inbound, outbound. Okay, so we're dealing with the different continents that want to come and sell into other markets. So again, with distant selling, the rules are always changing, but again, companies don't have to set up physically in countries like before. Digital sales are totally allowed remote. So again, it's a question of getting your registered trademarks, getting your numbers and so on. But we go through that. But this is our network. This is the countries that we're looking after, and a very good footprint for our company Avask around the world today. Let's look at HVEB.
Sure. HV Holdings. Let's start with that. HV Holdings has is the group company and been in business for more than 20 years. International business in the Indian Ocean region. Actually, one of the biggest group in the region. And for the next phase of development, the group through HVEB, the French subsidiary, had the mission to bring our expertise in developing quality product to other
Mhm.
regions of the globe. So that's the mission of HVEB. And
Great.
this mission has actually raised several challenges. For example, taxation, import, export, customs. That's where we've started our relationship with you, Shuna, and
Hmm.
with the Avast team, our players in Avast team.
Yeah, yeah, because HVEB is part of a bigger trading company.
Mm.
So yeah, so tell us a little bit how you decided on setting up the HVEB brand for an Amazon business. because we've many sellers that could be really of interest to know how that came about within the larger size of your
Mm,
holding
mm.
company.
So the business in the region of the Indian Ocean is basically is through several industries, but the retail business is basically brick and mortar. A lot of franchises, a lot of shops in the region, and with the how the world is going, digitalization is the way forward. So e-commerce is a natural expansion of that business, and
Okay,
that it makes it easier for a business to grow internationally and faster also. So for us to get HVEB was a natural next step uh, of the group expansion.
great. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. So we move to the next slide, please. And just show everybody that's on the call today a little bit. So
Yeah,
the target product here, and again, when we look at statistics, you picked a very good product, because this is in a lot of international markets, towels and bath towels
yeah.
and everything around the bathroom is one of the big sellers, notably on a lot of marketplaces, and particularly on Amazon. So again, congrats for the decision and the sourcing of your product. So I'll let you tell us how that happened.
Mm. Well, thank you, Shona. I think that the selection of that category was based on our experience. First and foremost, as we said before, we already have experience in developing high quality products, and also about the market demands. We noticed there was a demand for high quality um, home textile products, starting with towels,
Yeah.
actually in Europe. So that's one of the reasons we started there, and we created that for the sake of Amazon. We actually created that brand Home, which was created in France
Hmm.
with our partners there, um, and we wanted to use our French expertise because of its elegance, style, and
Yeah.
quality, as we seek to provide the customers with best-in-class products. Focusing on absorbency and comfort. So just me giving a bit of our product specs here, and how they are super soft and comfy, and all this can be validated, just on not only by me saying it, but you can find these with the positive customer reviews
Yeah.
on Amazon. Yeah, and
Excellent.
to add on that, it's not only about the product; it's how you produce. I think you said that a bit earlier in your question. So we do that in a responsible way.
Mm.
For example, we ensure that there's no harmful substances that are being used in production. We use recycled materials, and we care about the people. I think people is one of the most important
Yeah.
thing here. We manufacture in a socially responsible way. That means people along all the supply chain are safe and treated in a good way. Uh, One example would be equal pay for all
Hmm.
genders. So that's one thing that we have. And
Great.
on top of the commitment, these commitments, the one we are most proud of actually is our engagement toward the Ematlal Velji Foundation, which basically is a foundation founded in Madagascar, and this foundation helps vulnerable communities in Madagascar.
Hmm.
And for every purchase that you do of our products, a percentage of that sales is donated to that foundation. And
Excellent.
why do we do that? Is because it connects us to our origin. Sure, we are a French business. We are located in France, in Europe, but the street connects. It was started in Madagascar.
Excellent. Well, I tested the product. Okay, I received my merchandise. And I was able to open it up and test it, and I really like this piece of information that comes with the package when you open up your parcel. So it gives all the background about the company, and again all the social background and the social responsibility piece, with recycled paper, of course, and so on. So again, congrats to the marketing team and the people who've put that together, because it does make a little bit of a difference when you have a storyboard when you open up your parcel and you receive your goods. So excellent. Well, let's
If
move on.
everyone
So
can try to do a little bit, I think if everyone can do a little bit for the environment and for the
Yep.
people, can make a big difference.
Excellent. Well, let's move on because we've got a lot of material to get through here today. So again, just a question to you, Jan. How did you identify, the products? Again, we
Mm,
spoke about towels and so on. So, were you using statistics? How did you
mm.
anticipate? How did you know that towels were going to be the thing that people would be buying online? Because
Yeah.
all of
Mm,
our sellers, this is what
mm,
they're doing. They're trying to anticipate and to
mm,
source the
mm,
products in
mm,
time, get
mm.
the design in, and then get it to market and get registered in time so that they don't lose the speed of the purchasing.
I think there's two important things. What you said is product and market. If you start with product, we're already producing our own brands of towels for the region. So it was natural for us to do things we know that we have expertise. And towel is a big market on Amazon. So
Right.
it matched there. So we matched easy
Yep.
for us plus market demand.
Okay.
And looking at the market, when we had the selection of market, obviously when you look at Amazon is huge is in the US. That would have made sense. But being a French company, selling on home soil was the most logical choice for us to start with. So
Okay.
that's why we started with French, and then
Hmm.
we are going into EU, and then the UK, and
Yep.
then it goes on and on.
And we've got lots of markets to do afterwards, huh? Yeah.
Hopefully.
Great. Okay, so let's just go through a little bit of the servicing and so on. And again, a little bit of an idea of figures here, the European market. So we are accompanying HVEB into all of these markets you see on screen. So we're currently looking after getting all the VAT registrations in place so that they can, legally and fiscally sell. So you see here, the UK in Europe is still the biggest market, but again, being followed very closely by Germany, and France and Spain and then Italy. So again, in an Amazon world, when you're pan EU, these are the markets. These are the prime markets that you can be looking to move your goods and start selling in, just like HVEB is today. Okay, so moving on then. Uh, Another question for you. How did you
Mm.
find us, Jan? How did you find of us?
Yeah, that's
Because there's lots of
interesting.
competitors.
There actually are a lot of there are several companies claiming offering quality services. I've not tested them all, obviously.
Yeah.
We've not done that, so we can't say for all of them, but we can talk about what we've received with Avast. And it actually started with us after our launch in France. We wanted to expand into the EU.
Hmm.
As we've seen, interesting programs like OSS and PAN-EU, which is uh, ex- expansion of the business in other countries in the EU.
Hmm.
But we realized that we needed a strong partner to support that growth,
Yep.
a partner who could offer a quality service. And we started to do research. We actually started to do research with our actual partners, marketing partners, and other partners in the Amazon business. And interestingly, the name that kept coming up was Avast. So we
Hmm.
had several names that were coming up, but Avast was the name that kept coming up. And we did over several of our research internally also.
Hmm.
For example, we noticed that Avast on Amazon approved service was the one, if I'm correct, if I'm not wrong, with the best ratings and the most users. So all these kind of created a validated for us the need to get in touch with you guys at the
Hmm.
beginning, and
Okay.
that's
Right.
how it all started.
Well, I tracked back in our emails, and we did actually start talking in June.
Mm,
And then I gave you, the full
mm,
offer and the proposal and so
mm,
on. And then you came back to us in October. So we'll move on
mm.
to the next slide, and we'll just show a little bit of what we're doing and what we need to have in Europe in place to be able to sell. So there's a question of registration, so that your company, the country that you're incorporated, is recognized in the other countries that you want to sell into. So of course that administratively means that we have to get VAT registration in those countries and then start declaring. Then there's also what's called the URI, So this again is for shipping. So this is another organization registration identification number that the ports, the airports, and so on will recognize when you need to move your goods. Okay, and then we'd start doing all of the relationships that we have to do with declaring VAT returns and accompanying the clients once they do start actually operating and having sales in new countries. On the next slide, then we have that's the full offer of Avask. So you see, we start with the basic. The basic stuff is the VAT registrations. What we're also doing for HVEB is the EPR. This is now the eco tax, which is becoming quite a piece in Europe. So we have 4 countries where it's mandatory for sellers to be registered and be declaring the waste material that comes with their products when they come into the country. So that's all around packaging, all around textile, all around batteries, electronics, all of that material that will need to be destroyed and recycled in different jurisdictions. So we do also auditing, we do accounting, we do shipping. We have a new company called Kata that we purchased last year. This is a company now that we have in-house. So very, very good for our clients because we're able to take care of all of their shippings and their customs. Could it be from China? Would it be going from Europe to America? So we have a very good shipping team in-house now, which is great for our company. Then we do, sorry, just to go back to the other slide. Yeah, just at a later stage for clients, we have what's very popular is the exit strategy consulting. So a lot of our sellers do become very big and then want to sell. So they want to sell their brand, they want to sell their business. So this is the exit strategy. And this, again, this takes up a lot of our work here at Avask is accompanying sellers to be able to sell, to be able to move on, and we help them with that. So that's one of our services that we do from the team based here in either the UK or in America. So again, the US team, we look into that, but we have a full offer in America too, to be able to go and sell in the United States. Before I finish on this slide, OSS, you'll see that's the one-stop shop. So again, this is a new offer in Europe to try and facilitate selling for the e-commerce traders. And again, it's a fully offered service at Avask and one that we're also offering to Jan and the team at HVEB. So let's look at what we're doing for HVEB. So this is the list of services that we put up and we drew up in scope with Jan and the team at the beginning in October. So we have all of the different implementations going on at the moment. So the mechanism is easy. We scope what we need to do for the clients. Then we have contracts, of course, that we assign together. We need contracts because the local authorities are going to ask us to prove that we have a contract in place. If we say that we're mandated, we have to be able to prove it. So we do have a contract, which is called a letter of engagement. Then we start the work. So then we assign a person who will be accompanying the client in the different countries. So they have a point of contact, which is unique. And that point of contact has to work with the different local authorities, with the different tax authorities, depending on the scope that we've defined with the client high level. Once we start getting those numbers in, some countries are quicker than others. Once we start getting those countries in, we start declaring. So even if sales haven't happened, we still start declaring to the local authorities what's going on. So at the moment, we're declaring now already the Netherlands, Italy, and the UK. For Jan. So you can tell us a little bit your side of the story there on what we have in scope.
I think that's been an interesting parkour we did since we started. We initially, I can see the 7 countries that we've started registration in December, but we initially started with a bit less. We really were targeting the pan-EU countries, so Germany, Spain, Italy, because we already had the French VAT on our side. And as application came in, as we did them, we also noticed that it took different times and every countries had their own requirements, and that it's not always easy. Sometimes some countries are very easy, like Italy.
Yep.
Some countries can be a bit less easy, a bit more time consuming to get the VAT. For example, Germany or Spain.
Yeah.
So that's where we realized we also had to fast track the over registrations to have them in time when we wanted to sell in these countries.
Yeah.
So that's why in December we I think we activated these over
Yeah.
registrations.
Yeah.
Obviously, we also had to do the ERP. We initially started doing it by ourselves, the
Yeah.
registrations, which to be honest is not complicated in itself to do the registration, but the most important thing, which is the submissions of the documents.
Yeah.
So that's another process in itself, where we've decided to work with Avas on, instead of taking any risk of missing out on EPR, since it's a legal
Yeah.
binding
Yeah.
action
And
activity,
it
let's say.
also sits in with your strategy to be responsible, to be, environmentally
Mm,
responsible. So, what we often say to clients that have gone through, the process of having to set these eco tax systems up and pay the
mm,
contributions, is that it is something you should then communicate to your buyers. You should tell them
mm,
that you have done the necessary, that you have this in place, and use the
mm,
the labeling to prove it, because this does prove that you are environmentally responsible and that you're taking these topics seriously. So, yeah, so just getting back to how you know varied the markets can be. What we see is that the local authorities, the tax authorities, and also the organisations that are dealing with the waste issues, they all work differently. Now, in a nice world, we would like to hope that they're all doing this in the same way in Europe, but when you actually go to do the work, no. No country is the same. They all have their specifications. They all have their different requirements. So we have to be, working with the locals, um, even if we want to be global, even if we want everything to be standardized, but in reality, it's not. So as Jan said, we do discover, there's certain specifications that have to be met, and we have to comply with. So that's for the VAT filing and registrations. Also, just for the e-sellers that are listening to us here, there is the setup with Amazon that you can do where you don't have to register in numerous countries. The value of doing that, you see with Jan, they have the 7 countries that will be going live. That will permit them to be able to stock in country. Okay, so the big difference just to retain here is that if you are VAT registered in a country, you can move your goods freely. You can have full FBA pan EU service with Amazon or the other marketplaces because you are VAT registered and you are recognized in that country. And for the reporting of the movement of goods, you've fully allowed do that. If you don't need to stock in every country and you're going to have a hub policy and centralize your stock in one warehouse or two, then you will only need to get VAT registered in those countries. Okay, so stock equals VAT registration. Just to remember that in terms of the rules that are in force in Europe, and also the same in the States. So moving on to the States. We're also accompanying Jan and the team to get sales totally opened up in America. Again, the US is the biggest market, the biggest e-commerce market, and the biggest market for sales. So again, a very good plan to be ready and prepared to sell in America. So we're going to be doing the VAT tax in the different states, which are to be compliant with Amazon are necessary. And then once we have those numbers on the sales tax, we'll be able to start the filing. So let's move on. Next slide. So just to look at the registration timelines, as we said, very varied. So again, Italy is the quickest one at the moment. Again, the timelines change depending on what's going on in these countries. So some countries we're experiencing, France for the past year, have been changing all of the rules and changing all of their IT systems and changing all of their physical civil servants in France. So again, we've been meeting a lot of challenges getting VAT registrations through because the country is going through a real digital changeover process, okay, in terms of IT, in terms of people, and in terms of legislation. So all of that together means that we're challenged as agents, and the clients are challenged to actually get those VAT registrations through. So again, it's interesting just when you do prepare and you anticipate that you won't be able to sell overnight. You do have to wait until all of this works, and that we can take up the necessary requirements with the local authorities. So moving on, a little question for Jan. So to follow all of these changing legislations, your EPR, it was important for you, as you said earlier. So we'll move on to the next slide just to go through what EPR actually means, just so we can see that extender producer. Okay. So just to stay on this slide for those that are watching us that mightn't be aware of EPR requirements. Jan, can you just tell us that, I mean, from your side, I'm sure Amazon made you understand that you would need to set it up in the different countries. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's 3 countries in Europe actually was it's a pre-requirement to be able to sell on Amazon: France, Germany, and Spain. So basically, without EPR, you cannot sell on Amazon because Amazon adhere to the EU regulations, and EU states regulation states that you have to be EPR registered to be able to sell in these countries. So it was
Yep.
legally, we had to be legally compliant to be able to sell.
Yep.
So APR
And
was important.
yeah, they've added also Austria now, but it's a smaller market, so not all of the sellers are on the Austrian market to sell locally. But Austria has now come in also with their legislation for EPR. So we, as a provider, we are offering services, full EPR services for registration and declarations in 4 countries. So let's look a little bit further to the countries that we have. So here we see the requirements. So anything that you're selling as a merchant that will have packaging, that will have plastic, that will have electronics or batteries, these are the 4 countries now that you need to be aware of, and you need to be prepared to go through the compliance issues that Amazon have as a platform. They are responsible for the sellers, so they are responsible to check that you've done this and that you've set up your waste management with the different localities, the different organizations in these countries. So moving on. Again, the process, it's very much like the VAT process. It's a question of getting a number. Okay, when you get that number, you will give it to Amazon. They'll be able to then make sure that your Seller Central account is legit, that it has the necessary numbers to be able to be registered. Then it's a question of estimating. So you need to estimate with your goods what will be in the package and what will be the content material. So we do an estimate initially, which we give to the local authorities. And then when you've had a full year of sales, we're going to go back to you. We're going to ask what you actually put through on sales. And if there's a difference, it'll mean that your contribution is less. If you've had a lot of sales and the value of that content, packaging, plastic, material, electronics, batteries, if it's more important than what we did estimate initially, then we'll need to contribute a little bit more in terms of what the costing will be. So again, that's how the EPR process works. We have a full team, so you will have somebody dedicated for doing all of that with you and helping you with the local languages, the local requirements, and the specifics that we have in the 4 countries in Europe now today. So the US, let's look at the US market. So Jan, it was a requirement that you had. Again, we have a full team of administrators and compliance officers in America. So we were able to get you an offer. And I remember we gave you a very good offer because, again, we're working with you in Europe. So again, at Avask, we do like to be able to do the most global service possible and we'll give the best proposal possible to you if you're going into different markets with Avask. So let's look at the next slide and see exactly how it works, because again, they have VAT in the US, okay, but this again is more on the business end, okay. It's on the business side of what you're going to be adding value added tax to, but they have specifically on the seller side something that we all have to be aware of. It's called sales tax. As you know, every different state in America has different levels of sales tax. So it's a very complex market. What we do at Avask is we try and bundle packages together. So we don't have multiple costings. We have a bundle pack, and we follow Amazon or Shopify in terms of compliance, so that we can give you a package that will give you the markets that are nexus proof. So you have to be compliant in those specific states where there is a sales tax that is mandatory. Okay, so that's how the sales tax works in America today. And to be Amazon sales or Shopify, we have our teams that will give you the package and give you the breakdown of what it'll come in at to get your sales tax number in those different states, and then to do the filing once you start selling. So looking at the next slide. So yeah, maybe I'll let you go through this, Jan, because you've had the experience and you're in the implementation phase with your team for America today. So if you want to just brief us on how you've been, traveling this journey to do
Mm.
what was necessary in the States.
Yeah, I think now with all the services and the ease of business structures that are available to companies around the globe, it's much more easier to continue with a foreign entity and form a foreign entity through uh, Amazon. Selling through Amazon, you can keep your EU business to do that, and if I'm not wrong, you can do the same thing the other way around when you're selling on Amazon. So for us, it made sense to keep our business. So we
Mhm.
went there. We decided to keep our current structure. So HVEB,
French.
the French business, will be selling in the US, and we obviously started at the government level. So from the previous slide, you had the EIN, so
Yep.
which basically provides the VAT number, so which we got pretty fast actually. I
Yep.
think it was one of the fastest VAT we got. It's probably like
Yep.
2 weeks or maybe
Yep.
even less than
Yep.
that. And
Yep.
now we are at the second step, which is the sales tax. I think registration has been done by Avastic in the next days following out the EIN. So that was a pre-requirement. And we did that in all the states required. Now we
Yep.
already have 3 of them, and
Yep.
the rest are on the way, I guess.
Yeah, great. Yeah, well, it's very much the same principle, where if you give Amazon FBA, and then you follow our recommendations on which states to take, it means that your goods will be able to move from one state to the next and so on. So again, it's a principle that works very much like Amazon in Europe. Once you have those different registrations done for sales tax in a minimum of eight to 10 states, you will then be able to let Amazon start shipping and start moving your products around those different states. You can do the full, you can do much more. You can take on at least 20 states if you want. But again, it depends on the research that you've done for your product, and where you think you want to be selling in America. So let's move on then to the next slide. So again, just for Jan and for other clients, this is our little sort of presentation of how to choose, how to pick a provider like Avask, in terms of the different services and the different requirements that you have. What we like to appreciate it, if you like, is the dedicated physical person. So we do have people in country. We have teams that will answer telephones, answer emails, be in touch, have Teams meetings when we're doing the implementation phase and so on, where a lot of the time there are agents providing same services as ourselves, but you actually don't have that contact, that you have to go through a service desk, or you have to get the generic email box. So Jan, how important was that? Of course, it comes in at a price, but how important was it for you to pick a provider to get you up and running in different countries that would give that personal, front end service?
Um, at the end of the day, when you are in service industry, it's human to human, you know.
Yep.
So having someone to always getting back to our emails, being available for calls, and updating us
Yep.
about what's going on, proved to be much more valuable than having a robot or
Yep.
a platform responding to us. So that enable us to have more knowledge,
Yep.
because we were able to ask other questions to have more understanding of what was going on in the different countries,
Yep.
because like we both said, Shona, each country had their own specificities, so it was very important for us to understand where we were going, where we were, and how to make things happen.
Yep. Yep. Well, what we value very much working with you and your team is your proactiveness. So, again, it's something that we like to be proactive in Avask. And when we have clients like yourself as proactive, it really, I mean, it makes the work, so much more, fun and intense, and we can actually see that we're progressing. So again, we value just as much as the clients value our service offer. We really value when we have clients that are proactive, and that are ready, ready to go to market and be prepared, because again, if a product is successful on Amazon, things can happen very fast. So let's move on to the next slide. Just I want to get time in for the questions. So this is what we said. It's the customer service. This is our key focus in Avask, is to be able to deliver proper customer service. Working with Amazon, we are challenged, with the size and the amount of clients that we have coming in. But again, this is where we spend a lot of our time with our teams, training our teams, staffing teams, and so on, to be able to keep up this customer service and keep up the level of service. So moving on. I'm just going to give a very quick summary here to conclude the journey, again, for clients like HVEB. We have over 10,000 clients at Avask. We're based in many countries. We have 23 languages that are spoken, and we're opening up new services all the time. So the client journey can be a very diversified one. Clients come in at different stages. They can be very much at the beginning. So when they're forming their company, they can come to Avask, or they can come in later when it's done, like HVEB was already formed, and then they came to us for the VAT servicing and so on. And now we're going through the different sections of our services that we have to offer as many services within the same house that we can for the clients. So on the next one, you'll see the other services that can go right through to the end. So if we move on to the next slide, we'll see that going back a little bit. Yeah. So again, we're basically on all of the marketplaces. So we're integrated. If we look at the technical side, we're integrated with Amazon, we're integrated with Shopify, we're integrated with Walmart and eBay. So this means for the sellers, you don't have to be giving us all of your data, that we can actually go and get it. We have the APIs in place with all of these platforms, so that our compliance officers get the raw data, they start to work on it, they start to calculate the returns and so on. So the further we go in developing all of the APIs with our platforms, with our marketplaces, the better we can serve you as clients and get all of that software in place. So our company, Avask, is a very a big software company. So we spend a lot of our investments on the software, on the tools and so on that we have in place, so that we can continue to expand and continue to bring the digital e-commerce services to the clients that we have internationally. Another big team that's growing within our company is the Growth and Strategy Advisory. So this is our team that really do a deep dive with the clients, do the auditing. We look at the sales. We prepare clients that will want to exit, will want to sell their companies. So that's a big part of our offer today, is those teams of accountants and those teams of fiscal consultants that work with the clients on their inventory, on their sales, and so on, to value a company, to bring them to a potential investor or an aggregator that might want to absorb the company and purchase it. So mergers and acquisitions, of course, would be the last item that we have on the sales side of our offer at Avask. So I think we're going to do a little bit of questions, see what we have coming in. Marie-Grace, who's working on the system here, may have collected up hopefully some questions for us. Maybe a question for Jan. We do. Okay. I'm going to give that to Jan. Jan, what are the first things that
Oh,
you needed to do before opening your account on the Amazon platform?
there's quite a couple of things you need to do.
Of course.
And well, one of the first thing would be to identify how you want to sell. Say, is it you want to sell an individual account or a professional account? So that's one of the first thing, very important to look into how Amazon help people become sellers and
Yep.
choose the way you want to sell. And when you get you select the model which is more appropriate to use it individual or professional, you need to set up the structure that will help you legally sell a product in
Yep.
a specific market. That will probably take some time to do, to get everything set up. So, and at the same time, you can select a market to sell your product and identify a product. If you don't have one yet, identify a product which you believe you can sell in. So maybe these three things will be the first couple of things to do before setting up your Amazon account.
Yep. Yep. Also, cost analysis, very important,
Definitely.
to figure out the costs, the amount that you're going to have to spend before you actually start selling, before you have any revenue coming in. So yeah, a lot of the recommendations we do is finding out how much your budget that you have to start paying for the different pieces you have to pay before you start selling. Again, then it comes back to being legitimate in the countries, making sure that you've got the legislation and you're following the rules. So again, if you need to set up as a sole trader or a limited company, again, that's going to be important. The type of setup, the formation of your company will make a change in terms of VAT registration. So again, it's important to do that. Then also another thing to check would be your shipping, your 3PL, who's going to do the logistics for you, okay, and the costing again, that'll come in with that. So very important once you've sourced your product, that you find out how you're going to move, how you're going to ship it, how you're going to get it to the consumers. And lastly, then would be localizing. So again, very important. You could be very strong with a particular product in one market, but you need to make sure that you do a little bit of research as to how you're going to present it in another market. So the way you present to consumers in Germany compared to Italy, or the way you present to Americans as opposed to Europe. Again, you have to think about all the different ways that you're going to do that once you've sourced, once you've decided on your product. So lots of things to think about before you actually open up your account on Amazon. In a nutshell, Amazon they have a very good program for new sellers. So again, if you're brand new and you want to open up on Amazon, they do have an offer. They have an offer that I think they give for free, where they will accompany you as a new seller, as a new account. So very good to point that out and to ask for it if you are just starting up and if you haven't yet opened your account. Then they have different levels of servicing that they will give once you're a mature Amazon seller. They can give you full relationship management and have you with a dedicated person to accompany you every day with your Amazon account as you go forward with the different countries. So any other question? Yes. Which country is the best to start selling? Okay, as Italy is very quick. Yep. Yep. So again, yeah, this is a question of matching your product to a particular country. So you might find that your product is really going to be only for Germany or only for the UK. Okay. However, if you know that it's a product that will work in Europe over different countries, what we can recommend is that you start with Italy. You get your goods into Italy. You get them stored in Italy. because that is the country that will get a VAT number the quickest. Okay, so there are different strategies that we can work out together, depending on your goods, depending on your production. If you're ready, if the goods are available, we can start by getting into Europe through Italy. Very good question. Thank you. Oh. How long does it take to get registered for EPR? Okay, well, this is a very good question, because again, we have the new countries like Spain and Austria. We don't really have the track record yet to know how long it takes, but it can be longer than VAT. Okay, so we just need to warn sellers to anticipate on this. Okay, Germany had a very big backlog last year, so we did have sellers that were blocked in Germany because Germany was sanctioning sellers that weren't equipped with a number for Amazon, and Amazon did have to block accounts in Germany for sellers that didn't have a number. Okay, so we can be looking at 8 weeks to 12 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer for EPR registrations. Okay, so it is something. It's not that expensive compared to VAT registration, and it is something we would recommend that you do in time. Yes, exactly. Jan, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions yourself after looking at everything that you guys have been going through and so on? Do you have anything that would come to mind before we finish
Uh,
today?
Thank you for the time today, and for going through again all the services that you've been providing. I think it's really been helping us in our during our growth stage,
Yes,
and yeah, we continue to look forward to grow that relationship
yeah,
and grow the business together.
the next steps. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we have our weekly call. We have our weekly call. So this again
Yeah.
is something I really recommend. When you have a client that is proactive, I really enjoy that we get our teams in at different times on a regular basis, so we can all update each other and just make sure that we're getting to the goals. Huh? So again, at Avask, we do like to have that pattern of seeing the clients regularly and making sure that we're progressing and we're getting things done as fast as possible. Yeah. Okay. Well, unless we've had any other questions coming in, I think we can wrap it up here. So again, you have our details for people attending, people that might be watching this at a later stage on YouTube. You have a scan here, so that's going to bring you straight to the product support and the service of for Jan. So you'll be able to scan that and get a look at the platform on Amazon and what they're selling on Amazon. And then you have our details to be able to get in touch with me and to be able to arrange an appointment if you want to have a chat about your business and what you're doing on the different marketplaces. So a big thank you to you, Jan. A big thank you to your team. And thank you everybody that's been attending today. And looking forward to hearing from you. And I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that people have been able to see a case study and what we do together as e-sellers and e-seller providers.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jan. Okay. Have a good afternoon, because I know in Mauritius it's the afternoon and you're probably going to be able to go out and have a swim or bask in the sunshine. Yeah.
Probably later.
Yeah, yeah. Just as well you didn't show
It's
us any
summer.
nice beach views there.
Thank you,
Okay.
Shona. Have a
Well,
good day.
yeah, you too. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Talk to you
you.
soon.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.